In today's video, let's talk about how to get looser paintings, if that is your goal. Now, if you like having very detailed paintings, then this video might not be for you, but I am someone that always wants to somehow get that looseness in my paintings, and this is one solution that has helped me try and get that. So let's talk about it, and we are gonna use this thumbnail sketch that I did in a previous video. So if you want to go watch that, I will have that linked below as well. But I'm doing this sketch of BAMP, and I did a sketch onto my Arches 140-pound pressed watercolor paper. Now, let's talk about what I feel like helps get me looser paintings, and that is a small painting plus a big brush has helped me get loose. So I'm gonna give you a little demonstration with this, and I really want you to try this out. Take your biggest brush, and right now what I'm gonna use for this is a size 12, so I wouldn't do anything under a size 12. My normal go-to size for painting is a size 8, so you can see the difference right now in this, because if I were to paint this with a size 8, I would feel pretty in control and I would be able to get all those nice details, but that is not the purpose of this. The purpose is when you grab this big brush and you have this tiny of a painting. I think the size on this is, let's see real fast. So it's just under 4 inches. It's about 3 inches and 3/4, and then it's just over 2 inches. So again, it's a pretty small painting. And when I take now this big brush to it, I physically will not be able to get detailed with it. And so this alone is going to force you to stay loose. So if that's what your goal is, I highly recommend trying to do this. And I'm gonna show you too how quick you can also be. So, because sometimes looseness is about being quick, but it's also just about not getting those tiny details, and that usually happens with using a smaller brush. So I'm just gonna mix up a sky color really fast and get that put in. And because this color is a nice light value, I'm even gonna bring it down to let it probably be the snow parts in these mountains, but I'm okay if it just really gets into any of that. It's also, again, this is allowing me to think and be like, I can just paint through things as well. I don't need to save any areas in there. And then I'm also going to just mix a little bit of, that was too much, but I want to add a little green into the water. Another thing that's going to help you stay loose while you're using a bigger brush like this is also going to be holding on your brush a little bit further back. The further you can kind of hold back, the looser it's going to be. And that's same with when you're sketching as well. If you're wanting to sketch looser and have lighter lines, holding your pencil further back is going to help you achieve lighter lines and stay looser. Same thing with a brush. The closer you get and the more you're holding it like a pencil like this, the more detailed you're going to be and less loose. So again, I'm telling you, if you're kind of unconsciously doing those things and your goal is to be loose, then notice that, try to hold a little bit further back on the brush, and that also really helps me stay a lot looser. Let's see, this is still probably a little wet. I'm gonna throw the blow dryer on it real fast just because I don't want my mountains, as I start to go into those, to bleed into the sky. Also, this is just a craft DIY heat gun. I get mine off Amazon. I think I'm on my second one in the last 5 years or so, but it helps dry it really, really quick. I'd rather not use a blow dryer if I don't have to, but for demos, I can't wait forever for it to dry, so I use that. Okay, I'm gonna mix up kind of a rock color here real fast. Color mixtures are not gonna matter for this. What I want you to see is just how using this bigger brush is going to keep me loose while I'm painting. Now, just to get a little bit of kind of some variety going on in there, I'm just going to come back and lift a little bit of some of this color off. The other thing this is also going to help with when you're using a bigger brush like this is control of the brush as well, because there are some smaller spots in here that I have to paint kind of thin. And so it's going to help with how you are using your brush, just because it is a little bit harder to get small areas when you are using a bigger brush, and not relying on a size 8 or 6. To be honest, I almost never use anything smaller than like a size 6, just because I personally don't want very small detailed lines. I try and stay looser in my work, but this is definitely a personal preference as well. I'm gonna put in some of the trees. So now I've kind of blocked everything in, I'm gonna come and kind of pull that off the bottom slightly where it's starting to bleed just a little bit. Give this a quick dry, and then I'm gonna do a few details, but not a lot, because again, I just got a big brush, so I can kind of go in and darken a few values, get the shapes a little bit more, and then we're gonna call it done. So notice now when I'm getting to this final pass where it's my darkest darks, I'm really just putting the brush down once and leaving it. And so that's really where you start to get the looseness and that freshness with watercolors as well, is just not futzing with it and touching it too much. And so when I'm using this big brush like this, that is something that really has been beneficial. And that's all I'm gonna do with those mountains in the back. And now I'm gonna add a little bit of darker value on that shoreline, because I kind of had to lift that. I wanted to get those trees a little bit darker. But there again, I forgot that I had that beach line still wet, so I'm gonna just grab that and then blow dry that, and then we'll do that beach one more time. And then last but not least, I'm gonna go and darken my sky just a little bit. If I wanted to, I could kind of carve out some shapes of some clouds in here. I don't think I like them, so I'm just gonna take them off. And then last, I'm gonna do one little reflection in the water. And then I'm gonna call that one done. And so with that bigger brush, I know for a fact when I've had something like this tree line or even those rocks and all of that detail that's in there, I would start to get lost in there and I would add way too much, especially if I had a smaller brush. It would just start to get overwhelming and usually I would end up losing the painting. Now, what I do once I do something like this, I kind of see how those marks are and what I'm doing with the bigger brush to keep that looseness and freshness. And then I start to kind of size up and then I would even try and grab a bigger brush or at least then know kind of how I'm using the shapes with this brush as I get bigger with the painting. Again, it's helped me, especially in areas where they get repetitive, like this tree line or with all the details in something. Having a bigger brush just has made a world of difference. So I hope that helps and I will see you guys in the next video.